Welcome into the DNVR Rockies podcast, brought to you by Strava Craft Coffee. Remember to use the promo code DNVR25. You'll get 25% off your entire purchase of that CBD-infused, deliciously rich, and potentially life-altering Strava Craft Coffee. I'm your host, Drew Creasman. I'm the managing editor of DNVR Rockies. With me, as always, is beat writer Patrick Lyons. And joining us for the first time, in fact, not just us, making his DNVR on-mic and on-screen debut, our guy, Aaron Patterson. What's going on, man?
Pressure, man. Pressure. I'm excited to be on this for the first time. We'll see how it goes. It could be a complete disaster, but we'll see what happens.
We've been waiting for you to have your debut on a getaway day in which the Rockies win. So
yes,
it's been 2 months in the making.
Right.
You know what? You've been here every single Sunday, even when we weren't at times.
Just ready.
You made sure that you were here at the bar in the studio, and now we're ready to rock and roll.
I'm stoked.
So you all out there are probably familiar with Aaron's work. If you saw the video we put out on Twitter on opening day, if you've seen the stuff, the Avalanche, pretty much anything that's been a video production thing here in the last couple of weeks and months. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about what you do and how you came to be with us here at DNVR?
Yeah, so I've seen your guys' work from afar for a while, even back in the BSN days. I'm actually from Indiana, was born here. And then, I had followed it from afar. And then actually when the pandemic hit is when my wife and I first moved here. So it was just like crazy, horrible timing.
Right.
And then the first kind of like human distance interaction I had was watch parties here. And I was like, oh, I'd love to be a part of this in any capacity. And it just, worked out. So love what I'm doing with like the cinematic stuff and just all video production. And you killed it on those VOs early on. So I'm happy with how that turned out.
That means voice over for the people on the inside.
Yeah.
It's, we got to make ourselves accessible to the audience.
Right.
And you have a baseball background as well, too.
Yes, I was a horrible NAIA pitcher. I threw the ball as hard as I could every time. I was kind of like Kenny Powers a little bit.
It's a good comp.
Just fastball every time, and just like never learn from my mistakes. Just bury, you know what I mean? Just like one of those stubborn pitchers that I was like, throwing hard is the most important thing.
It's harder to hit the faster it goes. Hello.
The real Kenny Powers would be very interesting to have working at DNVR.
Right.
He would
fit in okay. I think so. So
second thought.
Let's get into the baseball. The Colorado Rockies salvage one here. We're in danger of getting swept by the Oakland A's, leaders in the AL West, after sweeping the Texas Rangers, but they do manage to pull one off in this game, in the, as Patrick said, the getaway day game here, behind another fantastic performance from German Marquez. Guy's been absolutely fantastic.
He truly looked great today. Yeah, he was vintage Marquez throughout. What did he give? 6 innings, I think?
Yeah.
Was it 6?
There was an interesting point there. So Patrick and I were down in the press box today, and they had runners at runners at first and third, 1 out, Nunez at the dish, and
sixth.
Yeah, and Marquez is on deck, and he'd thrown his 86 pitches or whatever, and Patrick and I were almost joking that unless he hits the big 3-run homer or puts one in the gap and gets a few extra runs here, you almost want Nunez to ground into the double play so that Marquez can go back out, because at 86 he didn't necessarily have to come out, but stuck there, 6 innings, only gives up the 1. Very, very strong stuff. I think over his last 6 starts, a 1.66 ERA.
Yeah, he hasn't given up more than 1 run. He's also has 6 strikeouts in his last 6 starts, which he's done, I believe, 3 other times. And Pedro Estacio and Ubaldo Jimenez, they did it twice.
That's right. You set that stat up for us last week.
And Marquez has also even had 5 consecutive starts. So he's had 6 or more strikeouts. So he's just striking out guys. One of the things I like to do when I keep score here, for those folks watching on YouTube at home, make sure you are doing that. Like, share, subscribe, hit that smash button, all the good things that Paul Brothers like to say. Is I like to keep track of the first pitch. Like, is he getting first pitch strikes? And he was just pounding the strike zone all day. He was getting a lot of ground balls and just really is getting himself back to the form of a player that really everyone in the MLB watching universe is aware of and expects him to be, because you take out that start. I mentioned it earlier this week, and it's even more true today. If you take out that start on May 4th against the Giants, where he couldn't get out of the first inning,
right,
but he left him in there because, hey, you got to get out of your mess. We've seen that before. Gave up 8 earned runs. You subtract that from the ledger, he would have had like about a 2.65 ERA on the season. And when we talked to Drew Goodman earlier this week on Friday, go back and listen to that one, he said, well, McMahon's going to be the guy. Story and Blackman, they can get hot at the right time. Maybe they will be all-stars this year, but who else on the periphery could possibly get that done? And it was German Marquez. And I think with the game being at Coors Field, and Dave Roberts going to be the manager for the National League, he could very easily look and go, hey, you know what? Might as well throw a bone to the Rockies. This guy pitches at Coors Field. He does really well. So you know what? German Marquez, you are a first-time All-Star.
Yeah. I love it. What do you guys think the big difference is? Because he got off to a slow start. What's been the difference in your eyes of how he's come along the last few weeks?
That's a great question. I really think it comes down to, kind of basic fundamentals. It's fastball command.
Yeah.
And especially, as Patrick was saying, early in counts. Pretty much every pitcher in baseball will tell you the most important pitch is, or the most important play is strike one. You need strike one.
Yep.
And he was having a really hard time getting strike one, finding himself in a lot of 2-0 counts, and then you kind of got to pour one over. Guys can guess on you a little bit, all the things from being out there on the hill.
All the things I did not do well.
And I think because his stuff is so good, he was able to still gut through some of those early outings.
Yeah.
But he was throwing a lot more sliders and curveballs, just hoping guys would swing early, get themselves out. And now that he has fastball command, he can just pitch with confidence and be his normal self and go out there and against a really good lineup, produce a pretty calm, relaxing, casual 6 runs of 1-run baseball, or 6 innings of 1-run baseball.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. He's cut down on the walks too, right? Not a ton either. That's the thing. It's really only been like his last 3 starts where he's cut down on those, but that speaks to getting ahead in counts, getting that first pitch strike, feeling comfortable. And sometimes guys go out and they just do a little bit too much. With Marquez, everyone said, well, he's the ace, he's going to go out and do it. And we've kind of seen it time and time again, especially with this core of starting pitchers, that whoever's the ace is not going to be the ace. It's going to be somebody else going.
Whoever's supposed to be, it won't be.
John Gray? Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens. And then Kyle Freeland has a 2018 season like he does.
Right.
And then it's 2019. You go, Kyle Freeland's the ace.
going to be the guy.
Okay, let's see what happens. Marquez steps up.
Yeah.
Marquez is the ace? Senzatella in 2020.
Right.
And, this year it was Marquez again. He's going to bounce back. Gray does it,
Gray.
steps back up, says it's my turn again.
Yep.
He's since struggled a little bit. A lot of that has to do with the arm issue. He's on the 10-day IL, and now Marquez is back to take his spot. But Austin Gomber is still waiting in the lurch going, oh, you think it's Marquez is the best pitcher in the rotation? Well, we'll see. Let me make my next start, and we'll see if we have a different conversation.
What a crazy pattern. Like, I've never really noticed that until you pointed that out, but that's 100% the case. I mean, I can't think of – and it's probably part of pitching at Coors Field, it's a hard pitch or place to pitch. So
and to be consistent and all of that. Let me ask you a question, Aaron, of these guys, because we've talked about it. The starting pitching is what you buy a ticket for, which is such a weird feeling as a Rockies person. You're just like, wait, what? But as a fan, going out, you were at the ball game yesterday. Who are these guys where you're looking and go, oh man, I gotta Marquez? Are they all up and down, or who do you particularly get up for as a starting pitcher?
I think Gomber, just because I haven't seen enough of him yet, and we've seen a lot of John Gray.
Train.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of John Gray. We've seen a lot of Marquez. Know what they can do.
Right.
Know that they're pretty consistent. Top of the line starters. But with Gomber too, just coming from St. Louis and not really pitching a lot at Coors Field yet, I've always been kind of interested to see he's kind of, I guess, quote unquote, the main piece in the Arenado trade too. So you want to see what he can do when he goes out there, and so I'm kind of paying attention when he gets to start.
Circle that one on the calendar a little bit.
For sure.
All right, All right. So You're making your on-screen debut with us. By the way, killing it so far.
I don't know about that. But.
Guys, a couple of players who made their debuts a little while ago. Now, Trejo not that long ago, but Rodgers a little while ago. Still first career home runs. Got a couple of those this weekend. Don't want to forget. And both in pinch hit appearances, which is interesting for rookies. Tough to do. But Alan Trejo, don't want to forget about his, even though you maybe don't. You never know. It could be the only one he ever gets in the big leagues.
Could be.
And you've got to appreciate that. You hope the one that Rodgers got is the beginning of him really starting to settle in as a major leaguer.
Yeah, you want it to be a sign of things to come for him, because he's a well-built young man where
Yes,
he should be able to have the power. I mean, he's better built than Dom Nunez, and we see kind of almost the easy power that Nunez has had at various points this season. So, yeah, you definitely got to hope more out of Rodgers. I want to see some more doubles, just hitting the ball in the gap.
Yeah.
I think he's still getting comfortable. I mean, you can't underestimate how much time he's missed, right? Just how much time he hasn't spent on the ball field. So his age might be 25, but he's got the at bats of a 23-year-old. And even still, you're going to say, well, he was the third overall pick, so even if he's 23, he's got to be X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And look, we have to get over that. It's the same thing with John Gray. It was the John Gray conversation 5 years ago. Oh man, fourth overall selection out of Oklahoma. Like he's got to be this, he's got to be that, and just let the guy play and do his thing. It's going to be part of his story. It's going to be a talking point, but all of that's out the window. Just let him get on the field, let him play, and so far it's been good. In fact, he had a very good week at home this entire week. Did you like what you saw from him so far at Coors Field?
Last night was his home run sounded different. When guys talk about, hey, it sounds different off the bat with this particular player, and it was all game, and then I was like, whoa. It was a sneaky home run, too, because I think it was like 418, barely got out, but it was a laser.
Yeah.
So, I was super impressed. Doesn't he only have, 150-something career at-bats? It's not many at-bats.
Right.
So.
It feels like he's been around a lot longer because, as Patrick said, right, he's been a part of the conversation for a very long time, but he hasn't gotten a ton of at-bats. So, I think when you really look back on it, those first 150 may not feel like quite as many, but of course we're all hoping and projecting on Rodgers. Also look good out in the field this week, making some really nice defensive plays, getting some opportunities to play shortstop, his natural position, with Story on the shelf for a bit. So almost made a stupendous play today. It was, you still give him credit, he did make the stupendous play, then he threw the ball away right after that. But,
it was a good little moment too, because I think we talked about it, everyone kind of noticed that Rodgers tried to pick up Givens there, almost made that great play. Was able to get in his mitt, couldn't make the throw, and you go, you kind of can see the difference between a Gold Glove caliber shortstop like a Trevor Story, who might make a play like that, and one who's maybe still trying to fight for the justification of the title of a true shortstop in Brendan Rodgers. But immediately after that, you saw Michael Givens go out with runners on first and third, one out, struck out the next two guys on the six pitches. Struck them both out. Mark Hanna, Tony Kemp, the top of the order. Two of their better hitters to contact guys. And you say, all right, there's 20, 25 other teams out there.
I hope they were watching.
Would you like a serving of Mr. Michael Givens?
What do you think of this?
I think that was a great showcase. 100%. And then that piggybacks nicely to the showcase of Daniel Bard, too. Mm-hmm. 2-inning save today.
Yeah. I think the best Daniel Bard we've seen maybe all year. Still gave up a hit. He was sitting on 100 with the fastball. The last pitch of the game that he threw was 101 miles an hour. Up and away, right at the edge of the zone, so you can't stand there looking at it. You have to try to offer at it, and there is nothing that you can do with that pitch.
Yeah. You could tell he was confident too, and probably taking a peek at the radar gun, feeling good when it's hot out, and he was letting it fly today. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, he's kind of, I'm not gonna say quickly, but I mean it was pretty quick since 2020. But if you go back and look at how shut down he's been at times, and the way he's kind of gone about it. He has that look and that feel of more of an old school closer, kind of closer that the Rockies haven't had in a while. I mean, even when Greg Holland went and broke the record, he didn't necessarily have that look of like one of those like a nasty kind of closer. Bard smiles maybe too much to really be a full-on nasty guy.
Right.
But when you think of those nasty closers, you go, all right, Bard is he's looking like that. He's a little older too.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got some crow's feet in the corner of his
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
You say, hey, he's seen some things.
Yeah.
So growing up in Indiana, were the Cubs your team?
No, it's always been the Rockies because I was born
Okay.
here. So like my dad is diehard Rockies fan. Like he'll watch them when they are horrid and like watches every game, every inning. So
Love it. Shout out, Dad. That's my people.
Yeah, he's still in it for the long haul. But no, I was grew up a Rockies fan, so I've stuck through it, thick and thin, and a lot of ups and downs with them, of course. But no, they're always paying attention.
Yeah, Bart is just making me think of without the weird reverse Henry Rowan Gardner arm of Craig Kimbrell.
Oh, yeah.
How he hangs it down. Again, Henry Rowan Gardner, the great Chicago Cubs starting pitcher
That's
from
right.
the early 90s.
That's right.
His arm would come up. Kimbrell goes the opposite way. Another great reason to make sure you're watching on YouTube so you can see all my awful visuals. But Bart's just got that nastiness that, again, I could see him going to a club and saying, you're going to be the eighth inning guy.
Yeah.
Maybe we already have a closer. But if he continues to pitch the way he's been with 2 strikeouts every inning, he struck out 3 in a couple of those most recent outings. You go, no, maybe he is that closer. Maybe he is that guy that can get the ninth inning and get the final 3 outs in a important postseason game.
Isn't it funny what the yips can do to you? Like that guy is
Right?
so talented. That's an easy 100. Like
Yeah.
he is mechanically perfect. I know just
Right.
Studying pitching when I was younger, he was like the prototypical pitcher you want of like just fluid mechanics, repeatable delivery. Like
Right.
he's a stud, and to be out of baseball it's a crazy story, man. But hopefully, yeah, if they do move on from him and get some assets, I'd like to see him obviously do well wherever he goes.
I think it'd be great for everyone involved. Look, the Rockies aren't going to play in the postseason this year, and everybody knows it. Like, shocking development. And it would be great. And we know Bard has only got so much baseball left in him, though. It's going to be really interesting to see if he can pitch till he's like 40 or whatever, because this whole middle part of his career we'll watch and we'll find out. But you never know how much left he's got. But you can get something out of him. We've made a big deal about, Gomber had not a terrible, but a shaky start to the season. And as of late, since the calendar turned to May, Gomber's been absolutely fantastic. Same thing with Daniel Bard. Now, he was awful first month of the season. But he was, on May 5th, sitting there with an 8.10 ERA. And since then, he's made, Baseball Reference give me a hard time, so sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 appearances and only given up 2 runs in those 12 appearances. In that time, since May 5th, he's shrunk his ERA from 8.10 to 4.09.
Wow.
Like that's... So yeah, again, it was looking early on like, oh man, they're stuck with this guy. They're not going to be able to get anything out of him. And now, Patrick, I think you're right. I think they could get some nice assets. He could end up being a great story for somebody else out there joining their roster and helping them win some big baseball games. And the Rockies can get some young players in return for him. I hope it works out for everybody involved.
And he's going to be affordable next year, too, because that's the crazy thing. You go, hey, he's been around for a while, but again, did disappear. So he was around, but most baseball-watching fans wouldn't have known. I mean, even myself, you go, all right, Daniel Bard, I kept my eyes on the Red Sox during that time, but yet at the same time, I don't know guys that lose it and are out of the game. Like look at Tyler Matzik. I'm not keeping tabs on Tyler Matzik. Going through independent baseball necessarily, or even when he just shuts it down for a year or two because of injuries. Right. So, but he's been around for a while. He's not eligible to be a free agent yet.
Right. Right. He's still got one more year before
he's got to wait until he's 37 years old. Yeah, for like a team to go, we would like you to be on our team and we'll give you some really good money. He's still going to be arbitration eligible. He could potentially be going into an arbitration hearing this offseason with some team
36,
and they're talking about, your statistics back in 2009 and it's like, whoa, what?
Can you imagine? Oh man.
That's insane.
All right, I've got a fresh Rymel Tapia rant prepared for everybody, but first we got to take care of a little bit of business, including reminding our friends about DraftKings Sportsbook, the absolute best sportsbook you're going to find anywhere in the world. Great app. You got to download it on your phone. right now. Do it. Make it fun. You're betting on all kinds of things, whether it's who's going to get a home run, who's going to get a hit, over-unders on strikeouts, total runs scored, who's going to win a baseball game. Of course, all the other sports have stuff like this, too. Got to be following along, of course, during Nuggets and Avalanche playoff / postseason. They don't call it the postseason. We're the only ones who call it the postseason, right? That's not a thing anywhere else.
They're Stanley Cupping.
They're Stanley Cupping.
Yep.
After Lord Stanley's Cup, if you feel like you know how the Avs are going to do, get in and bet on them. Or, just who's going to score a goal. I know Mikko's been great for getting people money this year. So find your best bets. Get a little skin in the game. Make it fun and download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now using promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. Bet on the basketball team of your choice to win their next game, and if they do, you will claim $100 in free credits. It's promo code DNVR for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only. Wager paid out in site credits. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Here's a hot take. I don't think Nassim Kadri is going to be scoring a goal the next couple games
probably
for the
not.
Avs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can put money on that. We'll talk with the Avs guys because they're coming in next. We'll see if that's a smart bet or not. But.
I'm sure they've got the odds on that for you there. All right. And the following Raimel Tapia rant is, of course, brought to you by Green Mountain Dental. Get that big old smile on your face by going to our friends at Green Mountain Dental, just 15 minutes outside of downtown Denver in Lakewood. They'll hook you up with free Sonicare toothbrush when you schedule your cleaning, x-ray, and exam today. All right. Now, boys, you may have noticed that Raimel Tapia, gasp, went into a slump. It happened. I said it would never happen. I said it had never happened, and then it happened. He did it. He went into a slump. For the first time as a starter in his professional career, Raimel Tapia slumped. And apparently a lot of folks out there decided that was the new normal and he was done. And I found this really interesting because, as I mentioned before, he's never really done it before. But I actually, rather than going over the numbers that he's put up lately, and we can get into that in just a second, I wanted to take a look at this Raimel Tapia slump. This really terrible stretch
on the road
of offense.
So we know there's probably a Coors Field hangover situation. And there's nothing wrong with going into a slump either. And we know that happens with players.
Every player in baseball goes into a slump, right? This is the thing that happens. It was bound to happen to Tapia eventually, as much as I had talked about.
Did not get a golden sombrero during this slump either.
Still has no golden sombreros, right?
No golden sombreros. I actually went back and looked because Drew kind of laid down the gauntlet. Only twice as a minor leaguer did he ever strike out 4 times in a game. And how many games has he just played as a professional?
Oh,
over 1,000.
Yeah.
I forget what the number.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 700 something. 1,000, but literally for it to happen once,
that's crazy.
Is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Insane.
So from May, I just lost it now. Okay, so what had happened was on May 16th or on May 15th, Raimel Tapia got a hit. Scored a couple of runs against Cincinnati. The slump begins May 16th. He was hitting .292 on that day, and he went 0 for 3, but he did get an RBI, and he walked. So he got on base.
Aaron's taking notes, by the way.
I am.
He's crunching the numbers. He's going to look at it.
Got the box score.
Love it. Then the next day, 0 for 4, but with a walk. Gets on base. Then he goes 0 for with nothing in the game, and these are all in San Diego.
And getting on base too is a huge part of his game that we've talked about. By hook or by crook, this year he's taking a little bit more walks than normal. Again, just putting the ball in play, we know in 2021 has such value. You get on base via error, okay, sure, maybe you shouldn't have done that, but guess what? You swing and miss at that baseball, there's a 0% chance of you getting on base. So you know what? Put the ball in play. Kudos to you. So he's getting on base a little bit there.
You got, one of those 3 games without a hit, but he did get a walk in one of them. So you're going, okay. Then randomly, in the middle of this 10-game stretch where he's got this slump, he busts out with a little 3-game hitting streak. On May 21st, he goes 1 for 2 with 2 runs scored and a walk and an RBI. The next day, he goes 2 for 4 with an RBI in a 1-run win for the Rockies. And then the next day he goes 1 for 4 with a walk. So he got on base a bunch of times in the middle of that. Then comes the weird thing. 3 straight games, no hits, no walks, no runs scored, no ribbies, nothing. 3 games in New York where he goes 0 for. And that's where he hit rock bottom. He was at 264 after 3 games in New York. Right after that, starting May 27th, since then he's hitting 350. So he went 10 games that constitute this slump, and he hit like $150 over those 10 games, and it really screwed up his batting average. But he did get 4 hits and 4 walks, so got on base 8 times in those 10 games. Scored a couple of runs, drove in a couple on those rollovers to second base when there's a guy at third. And this constitutes the absolute worst stretch of offense we have ever seen out of Raimel Tapia as a starter.
If that's your slump, man, I'll take that. I'll take that all day. If you're still getting on base and producing, at least giving us something during that. I mean, there's plenty of guys that, go a few weeks where it's brutal to watch at bat. So,
well, during essentially that exact same time span, you said May 16th, I think.
Starting May 16th
through May 31st or May 30th.
Yeah.
Trevor Story during that span hit 186. Dom Nunez was 074, but that's a topic for another day. Garrett Hampson 122. So Daza was only hitting 217. So everyone was kind of struggling. So, it is what it is. Guys are going to go through slumps, but if that's your low point, that's pretty good. Now, what I want to see is more high points. I want more power, right? It's one thing where you don't want to be getting in slumps, but it's another thing to really be separating yourself from that field. And we're seeing the power come a little bit. It started a little bit more in April, and we haven't really seen it too much. But again, I think Tapia is still trying to perfect that part of his game a little bit. He's, we saw it last year, and I don't know if we've seen more growth this year, just more consistency, right? Because last year it was getting on track, and he did. And this year's about getting on track for 162, which is a total different beast.
Right.
And he and pretty much any other player is at that disadvantage, because you would have hoped that, hey, I make an improvement one season, then the next season I can go on and do something else. Really, he's just only able to do what he did last year, but doing it for a full season.
Right.
And so you go, he didn't really make any growth when he did. It was just more about the quantity than the quality.
Exactly right.
And that's why I want him to still make that quality growth, but he's making the quantity growth as well. So,
that's always been something interesting to me, and I've talked to him about this and some of his hitting coaches, and they struggle with this because they feel, and Tapia feels this way, that when he's trying to hit for more power is when he goes into his little funks, which he doesn't have very often, right? I also forgot to mention that during that 10-game slump there, he did hit one of his 5 home runs on the season. So one of those 4 hits that he had in there was a homer. Then you look at this last stretch where he's hitting 350 over those last several games. He had 3 games in a row there where he had 3 hits. But
in a multi-hit game last night as well. Nearly had one today. Call did not get overturned, so he would have actually tied Daza with 5.
But a couple doubles
consecutive
in there.
multi-hit games.
Nothing really threatening the wall, though. So it's interesting. I feel like he's more consistent when he slows his bat down. And this may be a push-pull tug for his entire career, right? Like, because he does have that pop when he wants to go all out and find one and get it. So it's all about the maturation of a hitter. But to bail on a guy after the very first and to this point only slump of his career, when you really dig inside of it, you recognize he was still being that consistent pest that he is, even at his worst. We'll see. There's still a lot of growth left in Raimel Tapia.
What do you guys think about, because he's been leading off, where does he project in the next few years? I mean, the Rockies are a little bit depleted right now with talent, but once they retool, do you see him continuing to be a leadoff hitter, maybe a number 2 guy, or where do you think he fits in there?
That's an interesting question. Yeah, if he's like a part of a better stacked Rockies team in a couple of years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of differing theories on this. I think he could be that leadoff guy. It's an old school way of doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's where he profiles well, though people these days, you see the A's out there. Mark Canha, get on base, Even if it's getting hit by a pitch, give me some slugging.
Yep.
Nothing old school. That is as new school as you get, batting a big, powerful guy. You know, so I get it. I also, and we had talked about this in the past, if it doesn't quite go that way and he's really just a guy you've got on your roster because he's, well, say better than what Ian Desmond was giving them in 2018, right? If you'd had him, if you put him on that team, this version of Tapia
for sure.
on that team, you've got him batting 8th, maybe even 9th if you want to get clever with your pitcher and have him be like a second leadoff guy or whatever. I think Tapia would be great in that kind of role. If you've got a more stacked lineup and you just want him more for what we're talking about, not to drive your offense, but to be someone who's on base all the time so that when whoever hits the home run, well, there was Tapia because he is always on base.
Yeah, I think he would be, I mean, one of the better bottom of the lineup hitters, you know, around. If you had him slotted in 8, 9, I mean, that's a guy you're confident in that can, you know, bring some electricity to the bottom of the lineup too, even though he's not having the power numbers right now. But, I mean, he still can, you know, fly around pretty good. So I'd be excited about that.
Yeah.
He would be a key piece on a winning club. Batting at the bottom of the lineup as your number 3, maybe number 4 outfielder. And again, you need guys like that.
For sure.
He's young enough though where he can continue to have a career. He's not, you know, Gerardo Parra where you're like, all right, he's kind of at the end of the road, and we saw him as a 3, 4, 4th outfielder on the 2018 squad. He's a little bit better than that. And I think you saw with Bud Black, like Bud Black's not bailing out on Raimel Tapia. He's still the leadoff hitter. He's their only option. We saw Hampson do it for a minute, and you see how prone he is to slumps.
Got about more than 200 against right-handed pitching if you're going to lead off.
You've got to. So I think, you know, I don't know what it'll take because I think there's a lot of responsibility batting leadoff, and I think you saw the great job that Charlie Blackmon did, and even, you know, prior to him, like Dexter Fowler for a while. That's like a position in the lineup. I think nowhere else in the lineup will you really have that unless you're batting 5th and you're like, hey, I need to get a sac fly here, and I just need to try to drive in a run. But other than that, you know, batting leadoff is a job, and you saw the value that Charlie Blackmon had and why it took so long for him to move out of that spot because no one else was really ready to do it. David Dahl, come and take it, and he couldn't get it done, right? Raimel Tapia, maybe come and take it. He wasn't ready yet. So it could be a couple seasons. It might not even be until, you know, his final year before free agency that you see maybe somebody else be a better fit at the top of the lineup because it brings that consistency that any team, any organization needs. So Tapia's got that spot for the year.
It's hilarious, too, because I'm sure I would bet more than any other leadoff hitter in baseball, Raimel Tapia finds himself in 0-2 counts. Like a typical Raimel Tapia at bat goes like this. First pitch, strike 1 looking, right? He's pretending to be patient. He's showing everyone, look, I don't swing at everything. So strike 1 looking. Pitch 2, a pretty good pitch that he fouls off. Straight back, off to the left side. 0-2. Then the at-bat begins. And then guys start nibbling. He'll maybe foul something off. He'll take a couple.
Smell his bat.
Yeah. The whole thing. And then he'll find his way into that base hit or he'll roll one over to second. But those are your options. And I'm like, it's funny because it's so not the standard thing these days. But a few other players to discuss, and I believe we've got our 20th and Blaze to look at, so we've covered some of these guys, but a few others who are performing well for your Colorado Rockies these days.
And Aaron, well, as like a preview, let's see how well you do with the list that Drew and I made up. Does anyone jump out at you just in the last week? So basically, just think of this home series. Who jumps out as someone that you'd say, this guy's probably one of their top 5 best players of the week?
That's a good question. I like.
Don't worry, we squeezed like 8 guys.
I was going to say.
So that should take some pressure
I
off.
like what Tapia has been doing.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
I like what Tapia's been doing.
Top.
Yeah.
Those multi-hit games were huge.
Yeah.
I like his throw that he had yesterday was amazing.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. That was great. Of all the things, like Elias Diaz is having one of the worst seasons at the plate of anybody I've ever seen. He's worse than Tony Wolters was a couple of years ago.
That's bad.
But he's been phenomenal defensively. And his deke on that play is so quality, wonderful baseball stuff that just like a lot of casual fans who may have been at the game may have missed it or whatever, but him just standing there like the throw wasn't even coming in, casually blocking the plate and then just boom.
I didn't think there was a play there seriously until the very last second, and it was impressive. And what a hose too. So you'll take it.
A great tag team connection.
Yeah,
those two guys.
Really good stuff. You gotta like that. All right, who else Who else we got on the list?
Oh, if we want to, oh yes.
All right, he got one. We'll let him bat 1,000. We're letting him.
Next week we'll unveil Aaron and Wazee, and then that'll be your big top 5 list.
Love it.
All right, but for our list, I forget we had a number 5. I wrote it down somewhere.
5.
We had 2 guys squeezing on. That's right. It was our pitchers, Antonio Senzatella. I said that like he's Italian.
I know.
And Austin Gomber.
Tony Senza. No. Right.
Senzatella and Gomber each had a start at Coors this week. Were great. You even throw in their last start too on the road, and those guys are dealing. Like Senzatella's been ramping it up since he's been back from the 10-day IL.
Yeah.
He's been great, and Gomber's really I forget what the numbers were, but going back to like May 6th, he has the best strikeout to walk ratio in all of baseball among starting pitchers, 13-1.
Yeah. That'll get it done.
That's insane.
Yeah. That'll get it done.
Not bad for a fly ball pitcher.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that'll lead to some quality results. Love what those guys are doing. Senza and Gomber. That sounds like that could be an attorney firm. I just come down to the attorneys, Senza and Gomber. All right, number 4, Hampson and Daza. I go to their law firm as well. Hampson and Daza. It sounds like it could be a little more off the. Hampson and Daza sounds like. Did you sprain your ankle in your?
I think I'd go Senza and Gomber. If I really needed some legal help, I think I'd go with the number 5
Senza and
too.
Gomber, yeah.
It's a more professional sounding.
Yeah.
Well, our great producer, Tech Boy, Kale Sorbo, the use of the ampersand really, I think, sells it. The DNVR font ampersand is really what ties it together. And you go, I don't know what they're offering, but I trust them both. I trust them. The other one keeps the other one honest, and vice versa. And you like that. Yeah, but both those guys, center fielders, we see one coming in for the other. Hampson was looking real bad. In fact, Tuesday night, struggling to the point where he couldn't even lay a bunt down. And you go, his numbers against righties are atrocious. You got Matt Adams on the bench. Put him in. That can change the game. And then immediately goes out. He had 2 hits on Wednesday, as we had predicted for our DraftKings Sportsbook. That was one of the bets.
Yeah.
I think he had 4 hits on a Thursday afternoon. So he's heating up. And Daza is still amongst one of the leaders in batting average. Granted, lower the threshold for guys who haven't been doing it all year long. Yep. But if you take 130, 140, 150 at-bats, he's in the top 5 right now in the National League. So both those guys hitting, contributing, doing well, showing a lot of range in the outfield.
Yeah, did I see around like 313, I think, or something of that?
Yeah,
like what
moving around. Yeah, it's wild, man. Daza is doing it with no pop. He's got 1 career home run, and I know he can turn on a baseball. I've seen him do it in the minors, but it's weird. It's like there's natural power there, but his swing is not built to generate power, and it's not even really generate to pull the ball. Patrick and I noticed this today. The Oakland A's were shifting.
You noticed it. I totally missed on it.
And I just went on Jonathan Daza, who every
right-handed hitter, mind you, too. 95% of all shifts are against left-handed hitters, and you understand that because they're a little bit closer to first base. It's a lot easier to do, just the way the players are in the infield and covering bases.
And when you close your eyes and you think of a Jonathan Daza hit, you think of a ground ball or a little soft liner the other way for a single. Yeah,
that's bizarre. How extreme was this shift?
They had 3 guys on the left side. Yeah, they had the second baseman second baseman playing behind the bag. Third baseman covering the line, shortstop in between, one guy on the right side, and Daza hit a ground ball to where the second baseman would normally be standing for a single, and I was just like...
That's an interesting
He went the opposite way, too, on that. Because if you watch his eyes, it wasn't one where he's like, hey, I'm just trying to get the bat on the ball. I don't really know where it went. Because you see guys who they almost fool themselves, or the outcome fools them, and they're not really sure where the ball went. But you saw his eyes. He tracked it the whole way. He was going there. And that's pretty impressive for him to have that wherewithal, because that was only the 5th time all season that he's actually had that shift. So we've missed that, and again, that's one of the things with these road games or not being able to get to the ballpark as frequently with some of the limitations they have on press. But we'll be keeping you posted on the Jonathan Daza shift.
You would think you wouldn't be seeing that anymore after that. Like, there's no reason to do it in the first place.
One of the smartest teams in baseball, too. And
that's crazy.
All right, so how about this one? Since 2016... Baseball Savant MLB, they've been tracking shifts.
Yeah.
And according to Baseball Savant, do you think David John LeMahieu from 2016, 17, and 18,
full
where
name.
he
He's in
combined
trouble.
for about 2,000 plate appearances.
Yep.
Right? Because not even at bats, plate appearances. Even if he walks,
Yeah.
there's a shift on. Do you think it was more or less than 5 times that he was ever shifted?
More or less than 5, because he can spray the ball everywhere, man. I
He can.
wouldn't shift on him.
Yeah.
Like five out of 2.
That's pretty low, right?
Yeah,
Of all
yeah.
those, yeah.
I would say more, right?
It would have to be, right?
Yeah.
Never. According to Baseball
That's
Savant, since
crazy.
2016, he was never shifted as a member of the Rockies.
Yeah.
Was shifted once last year and has been shifted once this year, according based on their qualifications of what shifting is, which is pretty typical.
That's a pretty nuts
So Jonathan
stat.
Daza, I can't even say he's getting the LeMahieu treatment.
More of a shift threat.
because
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know if that means anything, but you know what?
I don't
You
know
love to
what it
speculate. I love speculating.
Maybe the American League is just going wild with some stuff. And for those listening who are remembering, and we talked about this a little bit, no idea how it counts when the Padres and the Arizona Diamondbacks would shift, particularly their outfield. Remember when DJ was here and they would put like their left fielder in center, their center fielder in right center,
yeah.
and their right fielder in straightaway right? And I was like, if DJ LeMahieu pulls a ground ball past the third baseman, he's going to hit an inside the park home run. And he never did because he was so used to going the other
Probably
way.
didn't count that. They probably only just look at infield because that's typically
Infield
what
stuff.
you see.
Exactly right.
That's it. And by the way, who's been shifted the most? A percentage of their plate appearances
of Rockies?
on the Rockies this season.
Oh, this season. I was going to say in his
Who do
career,
you think
Cargo.
is number one?
Oh yeah,
Cargo.
Yeah, it had to be-
Cargo.
it had to be hidden. Yeah.
Now, yeah, I forget what
the
his
shift
number
was
is.
literally invented for hitters like Cargo.
Yeah, seriously.
Since they've been tracking in 2016, he's
Killed
probably
his
been the
career.
most, a little over maybe 50%.
Yeah.
But there's a couple guys that are a little bit over that right now.
That are current Rockies?
Current
So
Rockies.
Charlie
Just
is
for this
probably,
season.
Okay.
I would imagine Chuck is shifted on 90+% of the time.
No, he's less than that.
Really?
He is one of the higher shifted players
Okay.
on the Rockies.
I just
right
feel
now.
like they're always shifting on Chuck. Who else would you even shift on in this
I don't know because
lineup?
you're looking at lefties.
Yeah, it's like
And then-
Nunez.
Yeah.
Dom Nunez is number one. He's at 80%. That was going into today's game.
Wow.
80% of his at bats.
I guess that makes
They've shifted
that
him.
makes sense.
Right?
If you look
He's
at his
all or
average
nothing.
exit velo, he's all or nothing. The double he hit
Yeah.
today is 105 miles an hour off the bat. The
Charlie
other-
is second. I was wrong. Charlie is second
Idiot.
at 70%.
Okay.
Matt Adams, I'm not going to count. He only has 20 plate appearances.
No.
But then you got CJ Cron at 57%.
They're shifting the other way on
Yeah.
Croner.
And according to Baseball Savant, as it's coming up, I see 16th on the team is Austin Gomber with 0%.
No shifting.
He
on
made the
Gomber.
list.
Straight up.
He made the
He's
list.
there.
25 plate appearances. Congratulations, Austin Gomber. He sprays the ball too, apparently.
But that's right. You can't. I did see a team shift on Raimel Tapia once this year, and I was like,
Only 5 times.
This-
2.2%.
Again-
Him and Hampson.
why?
Yeah,
What
I
are
don't
you
know.
doing? Isn't that an auto base hit the other way?
Again, if you keep pitching him inside,
I guess, yeah.
bust him in there.
You can pay. Yeah,
That's what you're looking
yeah.
for him to
Gotta
do.
have that Jeter swing where you just get, try to take it the other way somehow. I don't even know how that's
Baseball
possible.
onto the
but
ground.
Yeah,
Just
it's-
insist on it no matter what they do.
Yeah.
All right, couple last points we want to make before we wrap this thing up. Do, of course, want to remind you again about our friends at Illegal Pete's. It's delicious stuff. You know it's delicious. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You live in Colorado? You've had Illegal Pete's. You know it's delicious. I'm just now reminding you that you're craving Illegal Pete's. You should probably head over there. You should get yourself. Well, I'm a big burrito guy. You decided? Oh no, it was Spence was a bowl
Spence
guy.
is a bowl, and point out the potatoes,
Oh.
which is clutch.
Clutch
It is
potatoes.
You don't get that at Chipotle. You
No,
don't get that
exactly
at,
right.
Illegal Pete's.
You gotta get.
Can we
the
just
potatoes.
go ahead and just call that the C word from now
Can we
on?
just call them the C word?
I don't want to give them any more publicity.
Yeah.
Illegal
Yeah.
Pete's.
You can
go Illegal Pete's.
Maybe we can-
not that C word.
This, yeah.
We'll go back
Total.
and blur that out or bleep it out. Or
That's right. Yeah, we should.
Don't,
Yeah.
don't sound clip that and take it out of context. Is what I just said.
That's
It could
right.
get me in a lot of trouble.
And they got a couple of fun ongoing promotions. You know that they're doing a free draft beer or house marg with the purchase of an adult entree when the guest shows a same day ticket to any event or game down there. If you get to the baseball game, you want to swing by Illegal Pete's afterwards. There's one right here down by the DNVR bar. If it's super packed like it's about to be, very short time from now as the Colorado Avalanche are set to do more of that hockey. Maybe you don't quite have enough time to come in here and get some food, though you should. It's good. You can swing by Illegal Pete's. They're fantastic. You know it's good. So, again, check them out today. And one of the things that always gets you in the mood for illegal pizzas, of course, Solace Meds. Look, they go hand in hand together. They're also right here on the same street. You can make it a one-stop shop almost. You can, first of all, Solace Meds is just a couple of blocks up the street from where we are right now at the DNVR bar. You can swing by there. Then you can go to Illegal Pete's, get your Illegal Pete's, and then you can come by the DNVR bar, watch some hockey, some basketball, some baseball, and you are in for a very pleasant evening.
That's a good tie-in to Illegal Pete's and Solace Meds, because you can't spell potato without
weed.
No, different first three letters.
You put your weed in there, man. And so if you're trying to find some places, some weed to put in some stuff, you got some places around your house, you should head to Solace Meds. They've got absolutely fantastic herb. 4 convenient Colorado locations, 1 in Fort Collins, 1 in Wheat Ridge, and 1 off of Broadway, just blocks here on East Colfax from the DNVR bar. So head over there, use the promo code DNVR20 to get 20% off and a free Solace bar. King Kong. Quality stuff. You want them edibles. Fantastic stuff. All right. Wrapping it up here. A few final thoughts on
We should get the rest of our 20th and Blaze.
Oh, did we even do that? Yeah. Oh, because we talked about
we got
those
off
guys.
topic.
Yeah, we did. We're doing stuff.
We got
because
Tapia Nasty.
I got one.
We covered that.
Tapia Nasty.
B-Rod, first career home run. He pretty much batted 400 this week at home.
Nice D.
Couple RBI. And Marquez. Be the king of the game.
The guy.
The Kaiser,
the king.
man. Getting it done. Gotta love that.
It really is funny to watch as I, for the first bit of the season was like, oh, man, I'm so ready for this guy to break out and do the thing, and he just wasn't quite doing it. And then he had that one really awful start that you talked about. And then since then, basically, it's like, yep, there it is.
He's back.
There he is.
He's back. Guess who's back? Herman Marquez, 2021 All-Star. And we say that because we
vote him in. Let's go.
We don't get to choose, but you get to choose on Ryan McMahon. So go out and vote. You can vote 5 times from any device. Do that. You can do that every single day. At least get him in the Final 4.
Yeah.
And I think he'd win that.
Got to get some representation.
Got to get some representation.
Gotta get it.
We haven't talked about Mac much today. We can finish up. I got a big piece coming out. It's almost 2,000 words on Ryan McMahon and my favorite comparison about him and Carlos Gonzalez. But really, it's just more about what he's done so far in his career, how he's looked, what he's doing this season, and what Ryan McMahon is going to be, when it's all said and done. It's interesting to look back on, say, the beginning of the career of Carlos Gonzalez, and when he first showed up in Colorado and was super raw and then was terrible in his first stint at the bigs and had to be sent back down to the minors.
Oh, I remember that.
And then he came back up and ended up turning into Cargo, and the team had that postseason run, but then they were really bad for a while after. And I'm looking at Ryan McMahon, I'm going, came up, struggled, sent down, came back up, has been awesome, team makes the postseason, then team gets real bad, and you're left there holding it. You have to be the guy now.
Filling in the big shoes. Holiday for Cargo, Cousin for Ryan McMahon.
Saying. It's all right there. And
it's the other C word.
We
can say Cousin. We can say Cousin.
I didn't know that was allowed around here.
We can say Cousin. Cousin's fine. Not that other one.
Didn't mention Joshua. And the fact that he's still hitting around 400 at Coors Field. And, with the guys who contributed this week, showing off the gloves, some stupendous plays that we've seen there. But McMahon, I really feel like has, especially in mediocre seasons from Charlie and Trevor, just become the heart and soul of the team in a way that Carlos Gonzalez was. There have been other hearts. There were times, Todd Helton was the heart and soul of the Colorado Rockies for a while, and that's a very different feel.
Yeah.
Tulo was that guy for a minute. Nolan was that guy for a minute. But Cargo and Rymack are different kinds of leaders that bring a different kind of charisma and inspirational joy. And I'm like, look, the Rockies aren't going to be good for a while, but they're going to need Ryan McMahon.
When's that piece coming out?
Tomorrow morning should drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, no, it sounds interesting comparison, man. I never thought of it.
Subscribing.
Yeah.
Top 3 baseball movies. We're on the spot.
Field of Dreams #1.
Boom.
Field of Dreams #1.
This guy,
I've got a story for you about that.
All-star selection right there. I cannot watch that movie.
I'm not even going to finish off my top.
All right, finish your number 1. Leave it hanging.
Yeah, that's it. Field of Dreams, and there's you don't need to have another discussion after that.
Love
There
it.
you
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. All right. And on that note, I think we're ready to get on out of here. The Rockies do have an off day tomorrow. Then they're off to Miami and Cincinnati. More teams that they should be able to at least hang with.
Trevor Story, we should be coming back off the 10-day IL, which is nice. You hope John Gray,
We
can
didn't
figure
talk
it
about
out.
the Denver Post story. We'll do that on a day when the Rockies didn't beat the best team in the AL West, just because we're having fun today. We'll talk about all the Trevor Story stuff. Look, it's not like we haven't discussed it before, So we read the other paper. We read the paper. We saw what it said. We'll talk about that in the future. We'll break down a few other things. We are getting closer to those things. The All-Star game, the trade deadline, home run derby, celebrity softball game.
I forget the proper name of it, but it's something called like Play Ball Playground.
Oh yeah,
That's their kind of pseudo fan fest.
Is what they're, yeah.
Got some news today that actually might be pretty darn good.
Oh yeah.
It might be a little bit better than I thought. It's not going to be the whole big thing that it usually is when you take 2 years to plan for an All-Star game.
Yeah.
But
I'm hearing some good things that
cool.
I'm now getting a little excited.
That's good because I knew you were worried about
I'm
this.
very worried because not everybody gets to go to the game, and your memory of the All-Star game, besides
Yeah.
maybe having a T-shirt or pennant or something, is going to the convention center, fan fest. Throwing your arm out of its socket to see how fast you could throw.
For sure.
Seeing some all-time great Rockies legends, some Hall of Famers, and sounds like you might be able to do a lot of those things this year.
I'm excited.
Convention center, yes.
I'm willing to spend my net worth, by the way, to get into the home run derby. So
Yeah.
I need to make it happen under any circumstance.
Are you gonna?
yes. We will. We'll work something out. The house is very much in play for that ticket.
And the little fan fest that they have going on as well, I hear might be very affordable too.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
Like the
screw
most
the home run
affordable
derby.
price
Get
ever.
down there.
Yeah.
So
screw
keep
the
your
home
eyes
derby.
Test
peeled.
your
We'll keep you
velo,
tuned on that.
See where your velo's still at.
It's probably painful, dude. I'm playing softball now, and I just throw the ball as hard as that's all I do.
It's like
The,
I've
ro-
learned.
the
I've learned
rotator cuff and the UCL is hanging on by a thread.
Oh man.
So
what did you top out at? Not to put you on the spot, but
I think 89, and I used to be like a small dude, but so
for a
it
real
was-
person, 89 mile an hour
lefty or
fastball
righty?
is.
I was a righty.
Righty,
Yeah,
okay.
but
That's-
I sucked. So
I've seen
it-
a couple of upper 80s fastballs
Yeah.
in real life. And it's insane.
Three
what
quarters over the top?
An 89
I was
mile
more
hour.
of like 3/4. I
Three-quarters is where it's
I had
at.
a decent changeup. It's just I could never. So there were guys that I played with that threw significantly, and I played NAIA, so nobody was good either. Is
Josh Fuentes was NAIA.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Missouri Baptist.
There's some of
St.
those
Louis.
guys, man, are there's some powerhouse people that you get a good program there, and there's some good players, but yeah. Anyways, you had some guys that threw slow that were just way better pitchers. Pitching is an art, seriously.
Yeah.
It's way more than having good stuff and throwing hard. You got to really learn how to pitch and listen to people that try to teach you how to pitch instead of yeah. No, dude, I just want to throw hard for sure. That's what I.
Yeah.
We need another new tagline besides, Silver Linings Podcast. I think we got another one this week, but DNVR Rockies, where pitching and pro wrestling are an art. That's it.
Absolutely, man. Well, yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna have to learn about all that stuff out there. I think I think the hardest I've ever thrown a baseball was 65 miles an hour. By the way, so
Dude,
you know what I mean?
It's rough, man. It's rough.
It's just it's magic to me what these people can do. So it'll be fun to get out there, see all that stuff. We'll be following it. We'll be keeping you up to date on all of those things. Again, do go out and vote for Ryan McMahon. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think he's deserving of being in the game, especially when you look at all of the statistics. But also, it's okay to just have fun. And the other things, the veterans that they're building toward trading, the guys that they're showcasing, we're enjoying all of that stuff. The rookies continuing to go, or they're not all rookies, the young guys, again, Brendan Rodgers.
The Lost
Seems
Boys.
like
The Lost Boys getting out there, doing their thing. And maybe, okay, last thing, road prediction. They're still, 4 road wins? So they got
4 and 22.
3 in Miami, 3 in Cincinnati. I haven't looked. Is there a 4-game set? I think it's 3 and 3.
I
right?
think it's 3 and 3 because they're off tomorrow.
Can they get 2?
I'm saying they tie their road record.
They double.
right now. Yeah, no, they're going for 4. They're going for 4 wins on this.
4 wins on this road trip.
Yes, we're going for it.
I'd have to see, who's pitching. Marlins and the Reds, they've got some better guys.
They've got some arms.
Some dudes, the front ends of their rotation.
They got some arms.
Very good. Back ends, not so much. I could see them getting 2. I don't think they're going to get shut. I don't think they're as bad as 4-22. But when you saw them as bad as they were on the road, it was like, wow, this is bad.
Bad.
But you can't lose negative games.
No.
So once you've lost the game, it is over, and you get another shot at winning tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
So I think they'll win 2.
2? I'll split the difference and go 3.
I like it.
All right, we'll find out. We'll find out for sure. Hang out with us. You can find out also. You'll be watching the games. We know that. Or even if you're not, you're still going to be hanging out with us afterwards for your post-game wraps, your post-series wraps. We're going to have Drew Goodman on, of course, for you once a week. We're going to be talking Rockies baseball, breaking everything down, especially these pitchers, man, because like you said, pitching is an art.
Special.
And these guys are pretty good, even if the rest of the team, not so much. So make sure you're following everybody on social media, at Drew Creasman, at Patrick D. Lyons, at DNVR_Rockies. Where you at?
I think I'm like at Aaron Patterson or something. I'm not very active on Twitter.
Does it real Barbara Creasman move, not knowing your Twitter handle.
I don't know. There's no reason to follow me.
Follow him. Do it. Appreciate his fantastic work. When you see any of the video stuff that we go out, just remember that stuff is put together by Aaron, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
You're a great addition to the team. We love the work that you're doing, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, too. I had a blast.
Yeah, man. We'll do this again for sure. We'll be keeping up with everybody throughout the baseball season. Make sure that you're subscribed to the DNVR.com so that you get all that written content, plus discounts on hats and shirts, a bigger beer when you come down to the DNVR bar. Plus, right now, when you get that year-long, we'll hook you up with a free t-shirt and a free stick from our friends at Holistic Wellness. Check them out today, HOLISTIK wellness.com, and use promo code DNVR30 to get 30% off once you've already gotten your free Holistic stick. Thank you all for listening into this episode of the DNVR Rockies podcast. We hope you continue to be absolutely awesome out there. We promise to continue being absolutely Aaron Patterson, Patrick Lyons, and Drew Creasman in here. And until next time, we will see you at the ballpark.